In this video, I'm going to demonstrate functional dry cupping to the TFL glute med, glute max area. So this is going to help to produce a functional release in the hip abductors. We're also going to place the cups down the iliotibial band as well, with the aim of helping to increase mobility and to reduce tension in the underlying structure, which is the vastus lateralis. Okay, so we need to make sure that we adjust the towels so we can get the client's shorts or underwear to above the greater trochanter. So the first thing I'm going to do is to take an extra towel and place it in between the client's legs. Okay, because one of the movements we're going to do is the clam exercise or the clam movement. So we want to make sure that they still feel nice and supported and secure when we're lifting the leg up. Okay, so the towel that I've just tucked underneath here could be tucked into the front and the back of the client's clothing. Then what we can do from here is we can now lift this top towel up, tuck it into the underwear, okay, and lift it above the greater trochanter, which in this sideline position for both our male and our female clients, it's easier to identify. Okay, so we can see here, we've got the greater trochanter. So this is our nice landmark. We're then going to place a cup directly above that area onto the side aspect of the TFL, so that glute med TFL border. We're then going to bring another cup onto the anterior aspect of the TFL, one onto the glute med, glute max, and then as we mentioned, we're going to place these cups along that iliotibial band. Okay, so we need to apply medium to the area first because we are going to be doing movement techniques. So the medium that I'm using today in this video is the physique lotion. Okay, but you could use wax or you could use oil instead. Okay, and we need to make sure that we're covering that wider area. Okay, so making sure that we're covering all of the muscle tissue where we're going to place these cups. Okay. Then, as I mentioned, I'm using the hand sole cups today, so I'm going to place the cup directly over the greater trochanter first for our landmark. Then I'm going to place a cup onto the anterior aspect of the TFL. Then one is going to go directly above this greater trochanter cup. Okay, so it's just that client's clothing allows. Okay, then I'm going to place one onto the glute med just behind it. And we can also come onto glute max. Now all of these muscles, TFL, glute med and glute max, come into this iliotibial band down the lateral side of the leg. Okay, so if we want to take pressure off this band, we know that we have to come into the muscles. We relieve tension in the muscles that then come into the band. If we just put cups directly onto the band, we're not going to have any effect at all in releasing tension within it. The band itself isn't elastic, it's not designed to reduce its intensity. Okay, it's designed to help to transmit power from the hip down towards the knee. So if we want to have an effect on this band, we have to come into the muscles that connect into it, which we've done here. If this band does become quite tight, then we produce trigger points underneath it, which is why we're then going to place a couple of cups along that area. Okay, to help to produce that functional release. So now we can see here, you might be able to see on camera, the client today, Lydia, has got a bruise. So we're not going to cup over a bruise. That's going to be treated like a local contraindication. Okay, so actually, just going to go just above that bruise and then place another cup there. Okay, so the first movement we're going to do is the clam exercise. Okay, so with the clam exercise, we're actually working along the lines of a PNF stretch, if we think about it, producing that functional release. So at the moment, the muscles are in a stretched position. And then we're going to ask the client to contract the muscle whilst it's in a stretched position. Then when that muscle relaxes, it's then going to release to a greater extent, and then the client's going to lift that leg up again a little bit higher, hopefully the next time. If there's too much suction in these cups, sometimes the clients might feel that they can't actually move or contract the muscle because it's contracting against the stretch. So in those instances, we're just going to take a small amount of suction out of the cup, and then they should be able to produce that movement. We don't want the client moving through or swinging through the hip. So what we're going to do is place one hand just onto the hip so that they're not moving through the hips or through the back. Okay, they're actually just lifting this knee up. So we've got one hand here to stop movement through the back. We've got one hand onto the ankle here so that the clients don't lift at the ankle. And then we're going to ask the client to lift the knee up slightly. Okay, so the first repetition might be slightly difficult, and then relax back down. This cup here has just become a little bit loose, so I'm just going to increase the suction there. Again, before we start, how does that feel? Okay, and then we're going to come back. So again, if you lift, perfect, and relax, and again lift. So again, we're going to repeat that 3 to 6 times. If the client is still feeling an awful lot of tension within the muscle and the leg hasn't come up very high, then they can continue with those repetitions. So you're not limited in the number of repetitions that you're doing. Well done. Is that starting to feel a little bit easier now? After about 3-4 repetitions, that stretch reflex should start to kick in the muscles here, and it should start to feel easier for the client. Excellent. Okay, so we've contracted the muscles against a stretch in order to release that tension. Then what we can do is we can take these into a nice stretch. Okay, so what I'm now going to do is I'm going to lengthen the client's leg here. Again, you want the client to feel nice and supported. And then I'm going to lift at the ankle, take it back slightly, and then drop that leg down. Okay, excellent. And then lift, and then come back. If the client feels restricted by the couch and that leg will drop down a little bit further, then get the client to shuffle back towards you. Okay, you can then use your hip here so that they feel nice and supported. And again, just checking that towel position. And then from here, we can now drop that leg down further without being restricted by the treatment couch. Excellent. Can you feel that stretch? Excellent. And we could just hold this in a static stretch for about 15 to 20 seconds. Again, just allowing that tension to release in that in those muscle groups. Excellent. Okay, and then lift back up. Perfect. So that was our clam and our stretch, helping to release tension in the TFL, glute med and glute max area.